their own game, with or without meritorious, but especially with this method, do you not think that you can get a higher success rate of influence of the general public if you can show them that you're willing to do it for free with them so they can learn? Is that not more effective? And if I'm wrong, tell me.
Well, one has to be receptive to the idea of even employing these tactics. And
Absolutely.
that's why...
Absolutely. Bingo, bango. You're absolutely right. Do you think they're going to be more receptive to maybe my position, or are they going to be receptive more to the judge's address on the back of a shirt? Do you think they're going to go to the judge's house and sit out front and wave a baseball bat or something? Do you think they're actually going to do that? That was an
Then again, people are in that courtroom and they're not happy they're there, and they don't know how to fight back. They don't know how to do anything. Yeah. They're just, and so they see this brave soul printing this shit on a shirt, and then she makes a spectacle of it and recuses herself. That's effective.
I am not disputing what he did. I think there's a better way. That's all I'm saying. I am not disputing what he did. Who am I to judge what he did was wrong? That's not what I'm saying.
But look, it worked, right?
It worked for him. It worked for him.
Yes.
He didn't post her personal address. He posted the business address of her law firm along with her name. I mean,
whatever.
He wasn't trying to incite people to sit out in front of her house.
Okay, you're picking apart my position here. That's not the point. The point is he got himself off. Do you think anybody else is going to pull that stunt? Do you? But if they see me through recordings get off of all these charges because they have no leg to stand on, do you think the person who sees that, John Q. Public sees that, do you think that I might inspire more people than a shirt? Because that's like wearing a Hell's Angels jacket in the court. You know? Like, how many people are you going to convince? Hell's Angels fans, maybe. How many Hell's Angels fans are there? Well, they're called the 2% for a reason. You know? I'm trying to go for 10, 20%. I'm trying to go for where's everybody who's going to traffic court? They don't want to be there. It's just like everyone says here. They don't want to be there. They just don't know why they don't want to be there. If they realized it was because they're being forced, because they're slaves, because they don't have a actual proof of jurisdiction, don't you think?
Okay, so look, you're not supposed to be arguing among friends here. We're all on the same side.
I apologize.
If you've got a better way, man, we're all on it. I'm
sorry if you think I'm arguing. I apologize. I guess I'm just trying to defend my position. I apologize.
That's okay. No, you know what? You're motivated. That's a good thing. Don't apologize.
That is one of the most important things if you're on the path to effectiveness, is keeping calm and collected, because they will troll you into getting angry.
You make an excellent point. And I did it again, and I fucking fell for it again.
Yeah, well, then they have the ability to say that you're being, disorderly in court, and we can.
You're right.
Contempt now, because you're just raising your voice.
Right.
Even though
every
word that comes out of your face is correct.
And now you know what? And I just did it to the people who are supposed to be on my side. You're right. I gotta. It's all stems back to my bar owner days. So I'm sorry. It's happened again. I need to temper that.
It's funny. No, that's what makes us all perfect, right? Us together. One is strong in this, one is strong in that, and that's what will bring us to that better place, is the diversity of us.
When someone's speaking and they get interrupted, if you're speaking, and if it was right after a question was asked, or that you were given the floor, and you're mid-sentence, and the judge interrupts you, you stop. You wait for him to finish saying what he's saying. Did you just interrupt me in the middle of this clarification in an attempt to make the transcript look as if you answered the question I was in the middle of asking. Just anything like that. That just came off the top of my head.
Sure. But here, Kevin, you're a unique case too. You like to ramble on, and you actually don't let people interrupt when they have that opportunity. So you're actually a good test subject. If I can let you talk, but if I find a way to like interject and still not aggravate you, then I think I'll be doing all right. Because once again, you are a great example of a person who loves to keep going on and on and on and on. And that's not an offense to you.
No, and that's something I have to work on. But I mean, I just did it to Brandon 2 days ago. He was doing a role play. I don't know, we were just kind of pissing around. And I stopped talking. And then I continued. And then I stopped talking. Like I was just waiting for him to try and interrupt. And he just left the call. Like I don't know whether that was his tactic or work. But it was like I was only just randomly spouting bullshit.
Which you do.
Sound like he was interrupting me.
Yeah. So I mean, you know what? That's like, you'd be a good judge for that. If that's the lesson you want to teach, you'd be the perfect judge for that.
Well, listen, they'll use any kind of tactic they can. They're feeling you out. They're trying to figure out what your weaknesses are. And when they find out what they are, they'll pick on them.
I know what my weakness is.
Yeah.
And you guys reminded me again. Fuck.
Oh, yeah. They'll say some of the most aggravating things that just piss you right off, and you just want to, like, snap. But you can't.
If anybody knows of any mental exercises or something that I can watch on YouTube that would kind of help with this situation.
Yeah, listen to how Robbie conducts himself in the courtroom.
I know. Fuck him. He's too calm.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you what, Mike. I think it's you need to meet Gary. I think you would really enjoy it, and I think you would gain a lot from it. So it's time for you to meet Gary. I don't know who can get him in here, but if Brandon were here, what the hell?
Well, it sucks. I try to track these guys down. Like I tried to track down that Aussie guy. I haven't heard anything from him. Robbie, I mean, I understand everyone's got lives. I get it. And Robbie, he has correspondingly very sparingly. But all these heavy hitters, you guys here are the ones that are consistently the ones that I can talk to. I'd love to talk to these guys for so many reasons, but tough to get a hold of them.
What do you mean by heavy hitters? That's kind of weird.
Do you think it's a wrong thing to say?
I just don't understand what you mean. That's all.
I think it might be a misconception. What you're saying is that we're the ones that are here regularly?
Yeah. You guys are regularly here.
All right. Well, but we're not heavy hitters. We're just.
What are you talking about?
But we're the most reachable.
Yeah, but everyone who's given me advice is a heavy hitter. You guys have had the experience. You guys have played the game. I haven't.
Well, you're playing it right now.
Not kissing Brandon's ass, but there's probably nobody here besides him and like Robbie that have had this kind of experience. And I see he just unmuted, so if he wants to take this over at any point, there's really nothing happening. So,
well, I can tell you.
Brandon Bowman is in the house, guys. Just so you know.
I've got a total of 17 trials coming up.
Who's
Do you hear that? Brandon, jump in.
I don't know what to jump into. I just heard 17 trials. It just barely came in.
Hi, my name's Mike, M-I-K-E. New to this game, trying to learn it as best as you can for the upcoming onslaught of trials that I have. And I feel that I've gotten my feet wet, but I need to learn a lot more so I can be effective in court. My objective is to, I don't know if you think this is the right thing, but to defeat them all. And I want to be able to do that. I've had some experience with, up here in Canada, it's called first appearance, but down there it's called arraignment. And I had my butt handed to me, and I would like for that to not happen.
Okay. How do you propose we fix that?
I propose to gather as much information as I can, and then by that, hopefully within the next few week or two, I would be knowledgeable enough to do actually effective role play. Or until that time, maybe do snippets of role play that I can ruminate on until we get closer to my next court date, which would be the 14th of September.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. I've never heard that before. What are you talking about? Of course it makes sense.
Thank you. I don't mind sarcasm. I do it all the time. Do you know that sarcasm means ripping flesh in Latin?
I do now, I guess.
Yes. So the folks here say that there's probably nobody more knowledgeable than you. Do you mind if I just jump in and ask you questions? Oh, sorry. Clarifications?
You can ask.
My last experience is with a judge who didn't really give much in the way of leeway for asking any foundational questions like the ones that are on the judge's ethics sheet or the 15 questions that I just received. I basically got one out, and he decided that he wasn't having none of this. He called it a game, and I lost because of lack of confidence is basically it. I've since learned that there was a lot of opportunities to interject and stop the damage. I've also learned that the way they went was completely without jurisdiction, but I guess I need to know how to be more effective right off the bat. I've gotten some suggestions, and I just like to know what you think.
Oh, I say what I think in my videos.
Pardon me?
So I say what I think in my videos. So how do you think you could use quote-unquote power to get your way?
I'm sorry, I think you cut out there. Can you say that again?
So how do you think I wield, quote-unquote power to get my way?
To get your way?
To bend our will to theirs instead of us bending to them. How do we do that?
We bend to their will because we allow it to happen? Allow ourselves?
No. Okay, so what do we have on our side? Because if you don't know that, then you haven't watched many videos. I'm shit testing you. So what do we use to flex our power so that they bend their will to ours as opposed to the other way around?
We use rational thought and logic.
Okay, but ultimately, big picture, there's a couple more steps past that.
And we use their words. We use their rules against them.
That was a whiff.
That was okay. How do we? Let's see if I can hear the question.
I say it all the time. I can't ask that question. Otherwise, you get it just because of the question. If you've watched my videos, then you know what I say about I
Are you anti-arraignment?
Well, if what I'm saying isn't worth listening to, then okay, cool.
I just wanted to establish which videos you're talking about. That's all.
Okay, so how do I generate the power I do to flex against them? How does that come about? I'm just one dude. I don't have any jails. I don't have any guns. They don't give a fuck about my opinions. So how the hell do I do this? Through what?
Through knowledge?
Nope. Keep watching.
Which videos are you? What am I supposed to watch?
I don't know you from anybody.
Okay, so
Right.
hang on. His channel is Ethical Anarchism
It
Articulated.
doesn't have any. I privatize them all except videos that are outside the scope of what I do.
Oh, okay. So then ethics instead. Right.
All of those are private too. So if he said he's watched them, I'd like to know, okay, how long? And there are other videos to watch. I'm not gonna be...
I haven't watched them. I don't know who you are.
Okay.
If you haven't watched them and you don't know who he is, then how did you get here? I don't mean that. Yeah, how did you get into this Discord?
I smell bacon. I might be wrong.
I don't mean
Kevin.
it in a bad way. I'm just wondering.
I got to Discord from Kevin and Kim.
Is this really how we're treating our newbies? Fuck.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you know, you guys are
Bullshit, you goof. Let somebody else talk for once. Keep your mouth shut, man. Fucking tired of it. Fucking tired of all you.
well, I mean, just we don't need to be attacking. Mike is here, and he's we've spent enough time with him. And he's a good soul. I don't think
Okay,
we should be abusing him.
Who's talking to me like that?
He
Who's
left. Brett
Who was
left. He said that, and then he left like the coward he is. So
Who was that?
Some guy named Brett. He was in the room. He's not in anymore. That's who.
All right, fair enough.
I'm just saying, like, you understand that I face a threat of arrest at all times, correct? So, and anybody can come in here. Anybody can just make an account and be like, oh yeah, I'm down. I'm so down. Oh yeah, put me in this group. Oh yeah. I mean, tell me you understand that, right?
Okay,
So it's
no.
like,
Okay, I
Okay,
don't
well,
understand.
okay. So I do. This isn't a safe space for me. Like, I face threats left and right. I mean,
Can I clarify something for you? Let me give you a little point of who I am.
you will get a lot further if you let me speak when I speak, because you'll notice that I let you speak when you speak. Like, I mean, I have very few pet peeves. One of them is being interrupted, because after all, that's what judges do. So if you got something that's more important than what I have to say, let me know, man. I want to know. Then I won't waste my time.
Permission to speak?
I'm not a military officer. Stop that. You know? Go ahead.
You stated that you're under threat. I know you don't know who I am, and you don't know where I've been, just like I don't know where you've been and what you've experienced. But one thing we do have in common is threats. I don't know if you understand where I've been, but I'll tell you, I used to own the most notorious nightclub in southern Alberta. It's a strip joint, and it was full of criminals, gangs, rig pigs, cowboys. I even had a billionaire as a customer. And I had threat from the police and the liquor board and the city for the last decade. Every day they tried to find ways to shut me down. I've been fighting for 10 years until I retired how to keep that place alive under the threat from these people. They tried to convict me of being drunk when I wasn't drunk. They tried to convict me of being of assaulting someone when I didn't. And now that I'm retired, my sole mission is to destroy these motherfuckers any way that I can. And the only reason why I have 17 outstanding tickets that I'm trying to fight with or without your help is because they want to exact revenge on me. So you think you're being threatened? Welcome to my world.
It's not a contest. I mean,
You made it one.
Do you want to engage in some kind of back and forth ego battle with me about this?
No, I do not. What I want to do is become an effective,
Here's lesson number one. I'm going to interrupt the shit out of you against my own rule. You have to be able to maintain calm in the face of words that challenge. I mean, whatever triggered you to be like, this. If you want any kind of power, and look, I'm going to answer the question from the previous question I asked. It's the sheeple. I get my power from appealing to sheeple. So that's why I say, if you want to be able to do this the most effective way possible, you're going to have to do it in a way that is calm despite your triggers. How about that? Right? This whole thing about what I used to do ain't going to fly there. Go ahead, Reed.
I want to have a calm, whatever you said to the other guy. Okay, never mind. I'm drunk. Shut up.
So
I love you.
if I can respond to that, I'm pretty sure you weren't here when I was talking earlier, but when you said it's to the sheeple, you're mentioning sheeple. That's kind of the whole last half hour I was talking about. What my hypothesis is about what's going on with traffic. And you can ask like Kim, she'll verify that what you wanted me to say was basically what I was saying for a half an hour before you asked me that question.
Yeah, and hang on, are they sheeple or are they sleeple? Are they just asleep? These don't see it? Or are they really just followers?
Maybe they're both.
I believe that everyone is
What's up, Kim?
an anarchist at the heart, you know?
I was going to say hi to Kim.
Well, remember what I said to you earlier, Kim, that those people who are in court subconsciously have such a problem with what's going on, but they don't know why. They just pay it anyways. So it's the exact same thing as what you said about their anarchists at heart is exactly what I said, but a different version of what I said.
We have winners, we have losers, and we have people who don't know how to win yet. And that doesn't make them a bad, shitty person. If they are willing to learn and they are willing to drop everything in their life to learn this, you know what I mean? Come on in, man. Like, I don't know.
Well,
once again, that's my point.
Let's face it, the only reason you have to drop everything to learn it is because you're under threat, 2 weeks notice kind of thing. You know, otherwise you wouldn't have to have that kind of pressure. It's the gun in the room that brings that shit to light, you know?
But that's basically what I said a half an hour ago. And I'm not trying to be offensive to Brandon Bowman X.
No offense taken. Go ahead.
Okay, but maybe the belief isn't the right word. I see that what's going on now. I see it now. I can put it into words. What was been bugging me for years because of being in this discussion for the last month or whatever it is. I've been able to sort of make it more tangible in my mind what was bugging me for years. And now I want to go further for numerous reasons to win these tickets, but more primarily, I fucking hate the system, and I hate the cops, and I hate the judges, and I want to destroy them.
Right? Dude, I was the type of guy that used to go around bragging, hey, I just paid my lawyer 50 G's, 25 G's. I got off the biggest grow-op in London, blah, blah, blah. I used to, and, literally standing there after paying him $50,000 cash from my dad. He called him his friend. The prosecutor, he says, well, my friend and I had a conversation. I said, what the fuck, right in court? And that's when I started to wake up. But that was when I was about 19. But you really have to, like I said months ago on a conversation with Joe and Kevin, you really, really have to drop everything and want to learn this by yourself. You can't pay someone to do your push-ups for you. You know what I mean?
I'm not.
When you're on the spot there and you're reading, no, I'm not saying, I'm just for example, to anybody out there, just for what it's worth. That's all.
Were you the guy that disparaged me about 5 minutes ago?
You? I don't know if it was aimed at you. No. I think it was aimed at a lot of people. Anyone who movies like shit, it pisses me off.
So you rage quit and came back?
Well, some hold their nose so high like BAL, and they say, oh, I don't need to role play. And they go in and they get their fucking ass handed to them. Or there's guys like me who say, okay, I know nothing. I need to relearn this over and over and over again and role play for like 6 weeks straight. And then you walk in the court and...
Agreed. Fair enough. Kimmy, here's the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
No apologies.
Disparage. He said disparage. And so because of Robbie, I'm about words. Like I try to check everything, not take for granted that I know what the hell that means, right? Disparage. Although I have a general understanding, it's degrade socially, right? Reduce in rank, degrade, devalue, depreciate. But originally, which is what I find interesting about the word disparage, is it meant to marry unequally. That's all. That's it. That's all I got.
Too funny.
Okay, so where are we sitting here? Am I going to go?
Hey, Bowman. You've got your teenage victim of being learned how to. You don't want me to say that?
No. It would be so much better if you didn't start that with, hey, Bowman, your teenage victim. Like, that's not a good way to start. It would be cool if you just say, hey, my daughter is down with learning stuff.
All right, my daughter's in your stream and wants to learn how to do some Socratics. How's that?
That was a conversation I would like to have. Yep.
Well, she's oregano. If you want to.
What does oregano mean? I'm sorry, my bad.
She's saying that's who the handle is, original.
Cool. I mean, I'm down to do that, but I think I gotta address MEKE, his issue. First, it won't take long. Then, for sure, we can move on to that.
MIKE.
Excuse me, sir. With your silly internet name nonsense. Sorry.
Okay, are you gonna keep cutting me down, or?
Yeah. Okay, I'm trolling you. I told you earlier, I'm shit testing you. You have to have a thick, Jesus. If you get so triggered, you're like, oh, you're asking me for help, and then here you are going, whoa, are you cutting me down? That's not the right attitude to have. I can cut you down a million ways from Sunday, and you had better take it. Or get the fuck out and go.
Are you attempting to disparage me?
Whoa. What Joe's trying to say is, if you can't handle this,
then get out of the kitchen. I got this, Brett. I don't need you interrupting, Brett. I got this, Brett. Right?
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, sir. Are you attempting to disparage me for the record?
Here's the rule. If you don't like it, too bad. Here's the rule. If you're new here, when I talk, you shut the fuck up. You're coming to me for help. Don't interrupt me. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. For real, for real.
Objection, point of clarification, Your Honor.
I don't interrupt you, right?
Objection, point of clarification, Your Honor.
We're not in the middle of a role play. What I need to know is, look, if you want to be here, I'm going to try and trigger you, and you're failing. Unless you can pass, why should I invest the time? I have Rika's daughter, a teenager, who I'd like to teach how to do this shit, and I know she can crush. That's time well invested. Here you are, a stranger, interrupting me. Which one would you choose, right?
Objection, point of clarification. I am just trying to understand the system. I don't think that it's anything wrong with that. And for the record, let the record show that you are attempting to intimidate me. And I would like to preserve that for any possible appeals in the future.
Hey, Rika.
Hey, what did I do? What did I do?
You didn't do anything. Yeah, I want you to ban that guy.
No, I don't.
Objection, point of clarification.
Oh, too late. I just
Oh,
too late.
I don't think you need to be banned.
I'll bring him back tomorrow. I'll bring him back tomorrow. Not today. Get the fuck out. I'm sorry, my language. And I don't. And maybe that could be a factor. But let me give you an example. Blah, 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 blah. How do you plead? Good morning. I actually fully intend to plead guilty here today. In fact, I actually brought an unsigned plea of guilty. It's right here in my hand. I have copies. I need to be done with this in a few minutes. I have a job and family to go to. I can't be here long. I'm just trying to make sure that the prosecution has done their job, filed the proper case, crossed the T's, dotted their I's, whatever. I just have a few clarifications for them before I plead guilty and pay the fine and leave. Before I begin, I just want to make sure, because I've seen some other things, do I have a right to a fair and meaningful hearing in this courtroom here right now today? That wasn't perfect, but I guarantee you that will get the attention of everyone in the room. They don't hear that shit. So it's a rolling off the tongue, confidence type. I've done this a million times before. That was a great second attempt. Try a third. How do you plead?
Sir, my intention is to plead guilty today. As a matter of fact, I brought an unsigned plea form today, and your bailiff can even look at that if that's the right thing. But before I go, before I begin, I just wanted to make sure that I have a few questions here, clarification for the prosecutor, to make sure they dotted their I's and cross their T's, and just make sure that everything is clear to me. Now, do I have? Hello?
I'm listening. Do I have?
Okay. All right. Do we have a right to have a fair and meaningful hearing today?
Okay, that was a great attempt. That's great practice. It had 3 holes in it. I was like, no, don't do that. But still, it's better. Okay, so never, ever, 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 ever say anything or send any kind of nonverbal message that says that what you're doing, you're unsure of. Whether it's a form that you typed up or anything you're saying. You got to act like you have been here 1,000 times before and beat it 1,000 times in a row. Even though obviously that's not the truth. They'll see it. They'll smell it on you. They'll see it in your eyes. So don't apologize. Never apologize.
Okay.
Okay, here's a role play general rule. I don't care how long you take in between sentences. I don't care if it takes you a long time to say what you have to say. What I do care about is that the right words come out, because the speed will happen. The speed totally happens on its own. So take your time. Say something as if, imagine, I know you're driving, you're multitasking, be careful. Imagine someone with power over you is in the seat next to you, and speak to them in a way that makes it, again, quote unquote, conversational. As you can, I guess I am recording this, I could show it back to you. Your sentences are, man, they're good temps. But I can tell that you haven't done it 100 times in a row. If you had done it 100 times in a row, it would just come flying out of your face. So I say that in combination with, I don't care how much time you take, the right words matter more. Try to focus on conversational, like you're talking to someone that you're familiar with. Like you're talking to the people behind you, like you're talking to the YouTube crowd, because you are, ultimately, right? Okay. And when you talk to them in a conversational tone, like what you're doing is totally right. I'm trying to move an A to an A+. When you talk with a conversational, casual tone, and they sense it that way, they sense confidence. And even if they're dumb, everyone knows this innately, instinctually. Where they hear confidence, they hear success. And they're in a temple of fear that they're scared to death of. So if you're confident and they smell that from you, here come, the attention that we need. You have the power of the sheeple. When the judge looks out and sees, oh my God. Okay, so conversational, that type of thing. You've only tried twice with me here on the phone. Great, try the third time. You're making good progress. Go ahead.
So has the prosecutor submitted factual evidence in regards to the essential element, the jurisdiction, sir?
Do you want me to fast forward to that moment in time? Because so far,
no, I'm sorry. That's the one I always memorize, because that's why you told me on YouTube that no matter what happened, memorize that. And that's
that's the meat and potatoes question. So I was like, whoa, he fast forwarded. What? So you gotta earn that. So yeah, it's like, has the prosecutor provided any factual evidence regarding the element of jurisdiction as of yet? Yes or no?
Yes and no.
Yeah. Right? If it comes flying out of your face and you're making direct eye contact and your hands are out of your pockets and you're standing square to them, it sends that message. Oh, I've never seen anybody like this before. I've had 10,000 quote-unquote defendants before me, and not a one of them has said things like this to me, especially without a lawyer, blah, 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 blah. Do it again. I told you 6 times. Do it again. Here's your 4th.
Plead guilty, right?
How do you plead?
Well, sir, my intention is to plead guilty today. In fact, I have an unsigned form with me.
Unsigned plea of guilty. Forget the form. Unsigned plea of guilty?
Unsigned plea of guilt form with me. I just need a few clarification before we begin. And, please. Oh, it's harder for me a little bit here because of the trucks. No excuse, but this is my real live, I guess my first live role play.
Of course.
Yeah, hold on. Okay.
I was there. I remember my first. It wasn't perfect. I'm just trying to make you as good as possible, as quickly as possible, according to your own abilities and understanding. How do you plead? Attempt number 5. That 4th one was good. Number 5, how do you plead? Blah, 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 blah. Big threat, church scene, hard benches, people with guns. How do you plead?
So my intention is to plead guilty here today. In fact, I have an unsigned plea of guilt form with me. But before I begin, I'd like to ask a few qualifications in regards to the nature of the cost of this proceeding. Oh man, I messed that one up.
You broke up there a little bit in the last part. Otherwise, it was good. It was good. And after practicing a lot, you just got to have all that coming flying out of your face because judges are.
Let me practice that. Let me practice this, bro, and I'll come back to you in a day or so. I'm gonna make sure I have this thing down pat.
Well,
But the other part, I'm quick at that because of just the first one.
fact check. It's a weekend. It's a weekend. Yeah. If you want to set up a time with me tomorrow.
I would love that.
I'll be there. Okay.
I would love that. So
PM me a time. Let's do an hour.
Okay. Got it.
Cool.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for letting me use the floor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'll be right back.
All right, the cat's away. The mouse will play.
What up?
It would seem as if the mice were sleeping.
I know, right? So, Mitchell, you got court, or did you get your stuff all tuckered and settled away?
My shit's squared away. It's just going to cost a little bit of money, and apparently I have to take my learning to drive test and the written test over again. But no, it suffers me no charges, so damage control done.
Oh, all right. Well, at least you got your stuff settled away. I cannot say the same as of yet, but I'm getting there.
Well, I mean, with all due respect, Kay, you're not exactly trying to do damage control. You're trying to make a point, and I so totally respect that. But where I'm at, I'm trying to get some damage control done and proceeding with all of this because I want to make sure my kids know it before they have to learn it off the internet.
Yeah, got you. Well, I got like 9 tickets and over $1,100. So at this point, it's principle. Like I have no choice. I mean, I could pay it, but
you do. It's $1,100, and it's not. Are they threatening you with jail time?
Not yet, but I have the last judge that I had before she recused herself threatened me very vaguely, but no jail time as of yet. I'm sorry, what was that?
With contempt? Or to put you in jail because of your charges?
Well, no, she was getting tired because I wouldn't enter a plea, and she was like, if you don't enter a plea, something's going to happen that's not going to be good for you. So it was a vaguely veiled threat.
Well, that's totally predictable from everything that we would listen to. They're going to threaten you with everything they can to allow the fact that they may not be able to, that you may not be able to make them look stupid. The fact that you actually are there on like 9 different traffic charges, none of which they have the legal capacity to just put you in a cage for, must frustrate the ever-loving shit out of them. Which is why I'm so rooting for you, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get all of the videos from Judge Ingram's courtroom while I was there, put them in a compilation and just straight one after the other and upload them to my YouTube channel, which we'll see. I'm hoping it's 25 for all of them instead of 25 each, but it's going to be worth it.
I'm sure it will be. For sure. What are the checkpoints like? It's gonna be my first time. I'm sorry. In the beginning of October, I'm going to be heading down to California from Washington for the first time in a long time. And I don't know exactly where these checkpoints come into play. So whether I have a license or not, or whether I want to challenge them or not, where are these checkpoints at? I've never actually run into one.
I can't speak to that. I'm in Florida, bro. You're talking different side of the country.
That's right. I'm sorry, bud. My wife has been a little concerned about it. I want to make sure I'm driving when that goes on, so you're just in the passenger seat.
Well, that also depends on the police department's training and how much of a dick they want to be. So they'll break your window or they won't. It's 50-50.
Well, yeah, the dicks that sit there on the side of the road telling you that you need to pull over because they said, I can't believe they're the most, honest officers in the entire force.
2 checkpoints down south, one on I-5, the other one on Interstate 15. I avoid them regularly, delivering units.
Okay, that's great. I'll be heading down I-5, so that's good knowledge.
So anyone else in the room got caught or want to try a role play? Or, want to talk about the 1, 2, 3 transitions or got any questions on Socratics or the 6 basic questions or the 15 if you feel you can get all of those in?
Both checkpoints in San Diego.
Both of them are in San Diego?
Yep, pretty much. They're way down there, way down south.
Oh, I don't think we're going that far. I mean, it is in SoCal, so I'm ready for anything, but I don't think we're heading that far down. It's getting kind of quiet. I mean, are we looking for a judge or a defendant?
Anybody who wants to hop in. I mean, if they've watched videos, know the 1, 2, 3s, and are, comfortable, I mean, I'm down for a role play. And cricket. Yo, Rika, you down?
You need to be down, Rika. I doubt she's even listening anymore.
Yeah, Rika's like, fuck you guys, I'm out of here. She's probably chilling. Drinking.
I was trying to help earlier. Apparently, it was sort of a private session with 20 people online. I jumped in the wrong situation.
Well, that and earlier, everybody wanted to talk at the same time, it's just not possible.
Oh, I get that much. I mean, you know me, I've got a 21, well, just turned 21-year-old daughter and 2 sons that are 6 and 8 months. So as far as the adolescent daughter doing her damn thing, I get that, and I probably could have helped, but I do get the too many cooks in the kitchen sort of thing.
Well, then people like to hear themselves talk sometimes, and you can't have a civil discussion and actually hear someone's point when you're trying to overtalk them to prove your point.
Hold on a second. I never just like to hear myself talk, and I tried to cut you off there, but you stopped already.
Yeah, you would have proved my point.
What'd you say, OG? I mean, I literally just got like shut out of the conversation.
Yeah, I shut you out for a little while. It was my bad. It's just, I have a bone to pick with people who just try to jump in and interrupt me. It was my bad.
Understandable. It's your server,
bad,
and
whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't my intention.
Just
My
happened
bad.
to land on you. That's all.
Oh, my feelings.
Nah, that wasn't. That's what happens. That's what happens. I just thought that I might have been able to help with the whole teenage daughter thing.
Yeah, no. The only person who can help with that is her. Like, the ball has to be in their court. Any team, it's like they're running the show. If you don't have their interest according to their rules, you ain't got shit. You're
absolutely right.
That's what you have. So
you are so right.
Yeah.
My 21-year-old daughter, I have to actually try to fog her into understanding why this is important.
That's why I said I'm the student here. Like, I'm learning. Thank you for the opportunity, ma'am.
Well, that too, when you're...
Sorry if I took it personally. I didn't mean to.
When you're...
Campbell, how you doing, man?
Oh. Okay, where did I cut off there?
I don't know if you were talking. I didn't hear it.
All right. As far as Rika's daughter goes, she's probably not confident speaking in a public spot. She's probably like got the stage fright thing going on, I would imagine. So I can understand the frustration there.
Well, I mean, I understand she's still in the room, so I'm trying to be more inviting to her. Let's not talk about her in the third person. Like, hey, Rika's kid, Regan, if you're listening, blah, 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 blah. That's all. She probably gets it. She probably doesn't even mind. I'm probably just making a moot point, but go ahead. I'm listening.
That, and if you relate to speaking in court, honestly, my first time with speaking in court, I was like nervous as shit. So I understand that part, and that's something that if you're gonna attempt to verbally smack down a judge, you have to have the speaking confidence in public. That's a key, like, must have.
Yeah, agreed. And there's an easy, super easy way to get over that. All you gotta do is show up. Like, if you don't have a hearing, show up. Like, if I was nervous in court, I happen to have a lot of public speaking before I even ever came to court, and I don't give a fuck anyway, so it didn't bother me. But I know public speaking is a huge issue with people. Sit in court with nothing to do, take notes if you want, if you can, if they allow it, look at your phone, they won't. Until you're bored out of your skull. You'll see the same cases, the same instances. Have a thick skin because it can be depressing as shit, especially in Hawaii. But once you're familiar with this character, that character, your brain goes, I kind of know what to expect. This unexplored territory, which genetically is so fearful to me, is no longer so unexplored. And your brain goes, okay. I mean, if I had a son who got a speeding ticket and he wanted to do this, he was all nervous like that, like, dude, go to court until you're bored out of your skull. Just sit there. Just watch it. That to me, that is the best remedy. I mean, better than anything I could ever provide. Action over words. Get there, get bored. And you're like, oh, it's my turn. I mean, eventually, I mean, this was the case so many times, I can't even tell you. They would obviously put me to the end so that the courtroom would be empty so that I wouldn't have any of those pie behind me that they had dealt with in the past. So they put me in the end. I got to show up at 8:30. Otherwise, they'd be like, oh, he's not here. Call him up. You know, bench warrant, arrest. Yay, we win. You know, right? So I was there. But you get to a point where you're just dying for your turn. Please call me next. Oh my gosh, please. You know, when you find yourself internally doing that, you're good. I mean, that's a definite step in the right direction. Like, you feel it too. You don't need anybody else like me to tell you. You're like, I'm good. Powerful, powerful, powerful stuff. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and as you're sitting in the court watching everyone, you can actually see that when they talk to a judge, they don't have the public speaking either. Like 90% of people that go up there, they're nervous as shit because they assume the judge has all the authority in the world when realistically the judge has nothing. It's just when you actually realize that you have power in your words, that's when you gain the confidence.
It's just salesmanship. They have an illusion. And if you're able to show that not only do I obviously see past your illusion, but look at this. Oh, I can pull the curtain back for the public. Ooh, look at that. Even these dumbass people are understanding me, and I'm being easily digestible, which is a term I like to use over to them when I challenge you. Ooh, look at this. I mean, if you go in there with that, a judge is like, I've never seen
Step
this
out
before.
into the hall with a prosecutor.
Well, yeah, that, right. But see, that's a tactic. And just like any other tactic they use, that's music to my ears, because flying out of my mouth will come the logic and the ethics of exactly what they're trying to pull, why, and why it's unnecessary. Why it's a threat. Illogical, irrational, unreasonable, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, when you get to that point, and they'll see it. They'll see it in your eyes when you're staring at them. I mean, how many men who are listening to my voice right now have been in a fight, and you kind of, you see in the other eyes, how serious they are about it. That's the same thing. And you can see it when they're afraid of you, because it no longer matters what they say. No, it no longer matters the threat that they can wield. It doesn't even matter what they say, because anything that they say is going to be turned around by you through logic, ethics, and actuality into embarrassing and humiliating them. And they run off the bench. Unplanned recess. I'll be back in 15 minutes. Bang. This is over. I'm going to put a plea in for not guilty for you. Bang. Gee, I don't know why procedural. I'm going to schedule this for a further hearing, maybe a motion hearing. Blah blah blah. Bang. Win, win, win all day long.
My favorite thing to see in a courtroom is the judge do the Captain Kirk in their seat when they automatically just shift themselves. They're like, I got you.
There's no feeling like it in the world. I'm telling you. When you're like, no billionaire could buy this. I got this. Like, it's better than sex. It's better than flying upside down doing aerobatics in jet aircraft. It is better than anything you've ever felt before. That's my bold claim. I got no factual evidence, but there it is.
I don't know about the sex, but nah, just kidding.
Cannibal, I was drinking some water there and you almost made me spit it out. That was hilarious, knowing what's up.
That's my MGTOW point of view. Just ignore that.
Oh, Cannibal. So today, my life interacted with someone who I had been interacting with online and had no idea that I would ever interact with her in real life. And then, surprise, there she is. I mean, it was totally normal. It was a friend of a friend. It's not a big deal. But she was totally accepting. She knew how I feel, all my opinions, totally accepting of it. It was crazy to behold. First time I ever had it happen, she was like, yep, guys are better in this way, this way, this way, and this. And I was like, get the fuck out. I couldn't believe, it was amazing. And then I was like, oh, no, I could talk about guys to no end how they're flawed and all this nonsense about men. I just don't happen to because it's not popular, whatever. But it was amazing, Cannibal. It was good. I don't know if you've ever in real life had a conversation about all this stuff, but man, that was my first. It was good.
With one female, but not too many. Most of them get defensive at that point.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, then again, you got to find one that's actually comfortable, actually talking and not small talk. All that, the weather.
I'd be down to talk to you for a while. You're interesting, Kat. I'm just looking at the list and trying to invite people who I've never seen before, like Daniel H-Town, Canuck. I've seen that name before, but not often. I don't know a lot of people in this room. Say hi.
Yeah, I asked her, and there's a bunch of crickets. But go ahead.
Hi, my name is one of those guys. I like long walks on the beach and Marlowe.
Hi, one of those guys.
One of those guys is a mod on my YouTube channel thanks to Rika, so obviously he's got a pass. What up, one of those guys, man? If I haven't appreciated you before, I'm doing it publicly now, bro. For real, for real.
Just chilling, killing, taking it all in. Thanks for the appreciation. And likewise, I appreciate what you do and the message you're trying to convey and doing it concisely.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. I'm sure I don't know stuff that you know. I mean, if you want to contribute, by all means. Whatever.
I've got nothing interesting to say. I just pontificate most of the time.
Pontificate is a good word here because by definition there is some objection and a little bit of arrogance is needed. I like that word. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else just listening? Columbo, love you, man. Kuhan Luke, I know that cat. I know that cat. Fact check, obviously. Froggy Master, yep. Harambe, long time history. Jingy, another mon. Just call me Rika? Who the hell is that? Man, kick her out. I mean, someone ban that one. I've never heard from her. Cannibal, one of those guys. Yep, we're good.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of lurkers. A lot of mics are turned off. So I guess they're here just to learn, watch.
Yeah, doesn't that feel kind of weird? It's like a very discreet, very almost private, way deep dark in the web radio station, right? Like it's midnight or whatever, most places plus or minus. And who knows who's listening or what they're doing at work. Kind of trips me out sometimes.
Just think of yourself as a porn channel and everybody's just watching.
A porn channel.
Money shot!
What kind of voyeuristic fetish would this be, Cannibal?
A hedonistic one. I mean, think about it. depending on it, if you're watching a defendant and you're hoping he gets smashed, I mean, that could be a good. Or if you're hoping that the judge smashes the defendant, I mean, it could go in several different ways.
Brandon, are you aware of the particulars of Cannibal's latest recusal?
Oh, it's a good one.
Vaguely, not much, but not surprised.
So I was at my fourth arraignment, fifth arraignment. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth arraignment. I was at my fourth arraignment. This was the afternoon with all of her criminal cases. I had my fourth arraignment that morning, or third arraignment. So I don't fucking know. It was one of them. But anyway, she had me come back in the afternoon, and the morning I brought one shirt with me that I was wearing, and another one that had her law firm, the address of the law firm, and the phone number of the law firm.
Oh,
So,
how dare you, sir? How dare you?
But so anyway, the afternoon arraignment was all of her criminal.
I'm gonna interrupt the hell out of you just to say I'm so jealous. I've never done that. Keep going. I'm listening.
Oh, it was ballsy, but so the courtroom was full. I was the first one up because I was the continued case from this morning. She's like, now that you know how things work, routine. But anyway, I was wearing that shirt, and she had no idea it was in the back. All the room was full of criminal cases, criminal defendants, public defenders, and prosecutors. And I'm the first one up there. So she calls me up. You know how things work. You've seen the cases. She has no idea I'm wearing a shirt. I go back and forth the evidence that the prosecution is giving you. Like she stated, well, you filed motions. Did anybody force you to file motions? Actually, I think that was the morning hearing. I'm getting confused, but it was anyway. She stated all these claims about what gives her jurisdiction, and I called out on every one of them. And so the afternoon, I was just like, I've been trying to plead guilty for six months. The only thing that I need you to clarify is what factual evidence has the prosecution given you that the statute is applicable to me based on my physical location. I've already ruled on that. I've already ruled on your motions. I understand you've already ruled on my motions, Mrs. Ingram. What I need you to clarify is the facts. And at some point, the recording cut out, or the live stream cut out, that a public defender actually stepped in from one of the criminal cases. And at this point, one of the attorneys, public defenders, or bailiff or someone told her that I was wearing a shirt with information on it. So she turns me around while I'm on the lectern, as she likes to call it, podium. But anyway, she has me turn around. She's like, "Will you turn around, Mr. Grieger?" So I turn around, and she's like, "Okay, you can turn back around. I obviously know who Kelly Ingram is. I don't know how you got that shirt, why you're wearing that shirt, but I have no choice but to recuse myself. I no longer feel safe or comfortable to hear this case." At which point she starts apologizing to the officers, apologizing to me. She went from "you're going to do this" to "I'm so sorry" so quick. It was like it was an epic moment.
Yeah, I don't have that notch in my belt. Well done. Well done. Not surprised. Well, I'm surprised that, anyone out there can actually do this every time I hear something like that. But not surprised based on what I know about you, getting the reaction that you got. Man, fucking well done. How'd it feel?
Oh, dude,
to go from one side of the spectrum to the other one. How did it feel?
That was epic. I have never seen a judge flip a switch that quick. And if you've ever seen the movie Law Abiding Citizen, that's what it felt like. I felt like that dude in the courtroom.
When he was talking to us as he was walking away, he had to be giggling like a sissy in a dick bag.
Bro, I was trying not to fucking like laugh and smile on my way out of the courtroom. Like that was just that was such a good feeling. She was so uneasy at that. And the funny part is the cops know that I can get personal information because they called the FBI on me one time already because I semi-threatened to show up at one of their houses. So now they know I'm not fucking around and I actually do have personal information because I can scare a judge. Like, she fled the bench. She was like, "I'm done." But I've never seen anyone do that, and it creates such a conflict of interest that even if she wanted to be unfair, you can't overcome that. No matter what you do, you cannot overcome that.
I think a real important part of this equation is what goes on behind closed doors, the conversations. The result that you got does not happen in a vacuum. There were conversations that were had. And for you to come out on top like that is just crazy. It's
Oh,
crazy.
I know.
No lawyer that you could ever hire could get that reaction. It's crazy, man.
Well, with that was a tactically planned move. I got her information because I researched my judge, following Sun Tzu's Art of War, Know Your Enemy, and I got the shirt made. I pulled the trigger on that shirt at the right time, and I knew that one of two things was going to happen. I was going to jail for contempt of court, or I was going to walk, and it just happened to be lucky that she couldn't do anything. The defense was too good, and the shirt on top of it. It took every bit of power she had away. Like what she had no power to begin with when I was starting to question jurisdiction, but to put her on the spot and in that position, I stripped her of every bit of power she may have ever had in that courtroom.
Yep.
But no one's ever done that, and I've never heard of anyone doing that, and I was like, fuck it, I'll try it.
I mean, obviously, someone has to have the luxury to endure the possible consequences that could come. But man, I'm just like, I'm looking at what's going on with BAL here in Fort Worth and all the obvious insanity. And then I go, holy shit. Not only did I record in my pocket, or allegedly somebody did, all the hearings that I, or someone like me, participated in, but they were told online. They ordered me not to do it under penalty of consequences for reasons. And not only did I put it out online that I did it, that I was going to do it again, and that everyone else should do it. I would do it again, get away with it, post it, embarrass them, comments would flow, and still yet nothing. I mean, looking at Fort Worth, I'd have been in jail for a long time. I mean, they don't play here, but not there. So it's just, I guess my point is, man, public and political pressure, if you wield it well, someone puts a sword in your hand and you wield it well, it feels good when you know what you're doing. I can't believe I got away with that, basically.
Well, it basically sent a message: be a lawyer or be a judge, but don't fucking try to be both. But I found that chink. I found the chink in her armor, and I glanced the shit out of it.
I mean, okay, you are MGTOW brother with me. Dude, how hard is it to take that shit from man, I'm just gonna say it. I don't give a fuck who's listening. How hard is it to take that shit from a woman in power over you like that, with guns and cages? Man, I'm telling you, like Barbara Takasi, all the shit I did, like Chino, what's her fucking name? I'm racist against Japanese, excuse my language, that Jap bitch that I tangled with on my videos that aren't public anymore. It's much harder for me to keep, I still did, but it was much harder to keep your cool. Some bitch with a paid gun behind her, like, and especially if she's only younger than you. Like, oh. I just envisioned some kind of Tarantino film dream where I leap over the table and obstacles and spring on my hands around their throat until they eyes turn back. Too far?
Maybe not far enough.
Not too far. No.
Yeah, right. Like, fuck that bitch. I want to kill her with my bare hands. If someone gave me a samurai sword and said, "You will get away with it," you'll get away with it. If you have the balls to chop her head off and see the blood come out and the spine and the flesh and to endure whatever trauma you may have from having done that to another human being, if you will do that, we'll dismiss all charges. I would have chopped her head off before they got to the word charges. That's probably not the best way to think about it. That's my barbaric gene man shit, but man, for real. It's harder to take from a female judge. That's my point.
Well, I will say when you put their private information out in public in their own courtroom while they're the judge, that sends volumes of messages to anyone who touches that case from now on. But the most priceless thing was the look on the two cops' faces that spent the entire day there. That was the most beautiful thing, if anything. Like, yeah, I wasted your entire fucking day, you night shift working piece of shit. I think at this point, yeah, they're probably tired of showing up. It's been 6 months over these stupid tickets, and they just saw me just do that to a judge. I can only imagine what they're thinking.
Kind of want to role play with you sometime to see where you're at.
I'm down. You want to be the defendant or the judge?
How do you plead?
Well, Mr. X, before I continue, my intention is to enter a plea of guilty. I just have a few clarifications about the cause and nature of the charges and proceedings here today. The first of which would be, do I have the right to a fair and meaningful hearing here today, Mr. X?
Man. You almost brought a tear to my eye. That is the finest first impression I've heard in a long time.
Practice.
This is your arraignment. Do you know what an arraignment is, or do you need a lawyer? Do you plan on hiring a lawyer, or do you need one appointed to you?
Well, Mr. X, I don't know if I need an attorney just yet. I'm still trying to get clarifications about the cause and nature of the charges and proceedings. The last one was, do I have the right to a fair and meaningful hearing here today?
Motherfucker. Beautiful transition. Back to... I tried to bring you on my path. Nope. Transition. Back to your path. A tear's coming. A tear might be coming. Man, I'm going to challenge you, because obviously you're better than the first newbie, so... I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Can you say it again? I mean, they'll do that even if they did hear it, just to try and trip you up and get you to restate your intentions.
Mr. X, I don't know if I wasn't loud enough. My clarification is, do I have the right to a fair and meaningful hearing here today?
Yes, of course you do. I give fair and meaningful hearings to all my people, blah, 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 blah. 2-minute long speech about this Constitution. Then he gives you the mic, or she, worse off.
Thank you, Mr. X. My next clarification is, am I presumed innocent of the charges?
You're presumed innocent. Yes, of course. Everyone is in this courtroom. And she's
Thank you, Mr.
looking right at you. So is the bailiffs. So is the bailiffs. So are the bailiffs.
I'm not a grammar Nazi. Thank you, Mr. X. I'm not worried about everyone else in the courtroom. I'm just trying to clarify if I am presumed innocent of the charges.
I said you were presumed innocent. Yes.
Just to clarify, presumed innocent of the charges here today?
The court clerk is whispering to the typist, and people are shuffling, and the bailiff moves across the room. It goes directly behind you to the other side. Yes, you are.
Thank you, Mr. X. Am I presumed innocent of every element of the charges here today? I'm letting the bailiff slide.
Look, do you have a lawyer?
Mr. X, I don't know if I
No,
need
I'm
a lawyer
asking.
yet.
No, I'm asking you. Do you have a lawyer? I'm not gonna. Look. Turn around. Do you see all those people behind you? They have a chance to have their day in court as well. Now, this is an arraignment. I don't know what you've got off the internet, but this is an arraignment. That means you have the opportunity to enter your plea and have your day in court. This is not the time for those kind of questions. If you want to ask those type of questions, you can do so at a trial. I'll set up motions here for you if you'd like to enter motions or have them heard. But I'm not going to sit here and answer your questions about this, that, and the other. Yes, you're presumed innocent. How would you like to plead? Guilty, not
Again,
guilty, or no contest?
Again, Mr. X, my intention clearly is to enter a plea of guilty. However, I'm just merely trying to clarify the cause and nature of the charges and proceedings and trying to clarify whether or not I am presumed innocent of every element of the prosecution's allegations here today.
I understand you. Court clerk, apparently he didn't hear it the first time. Just read off the charges and the max penalties again, just for the record. Max charges, blah, blah, blah. Penalties, blah, blah, blah.
Thank you, Mr. X. Am I presumed innocent of every element of the blah, blah, blah and blah, blah, blah here today?
Look, you're presumed innocent. 100% in this courtroom. If you'd like a motions hearing heard, I'm more than happy to schedule one. In fact, she turns to the court clerk. What's my schedule look like? I think you have whatever. How's October 15th look to you? I mean, apparently you don't want to resolve this matter here today. You have questions. I don't know if you're going to get a lawyer or if you can afford one. You can fill out this paperwork, blah, 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 and then have one, appointed to you. And we can resolve this matter then. Do you understand?
Thank you, Mr. X. I understand that I want to resolve this today by getting as much clarified as I can before I enter an informed plea of guilty. I'm just trying to clarify whether or not I am presumed innocent of every element of the charge.
Did I drop off, or are you taking your time?
No, that was it. Wait, I think I might have dropped off. What did you hear with that?
He has his headset deafened. He can't hear you, Can.
Oh, come on, Boatman.
Anyone else? Cannibal, you there?
Can you hear me?
No,
I'm still here.
On behalf of the prosecutor, I'll enter a plea of not guilty. Bang, over. Cannibal, you there? What up?
Cannibal's here.
He's not seeing the chat.
Crickets.
Fucking deaf-ass judges. Well, the judge left the bench.
He's got to see the text chat. He'll be back in a minute.
Read the chat, fucker.
I never heard him sound happier. That was cool.
Oh, he's trying to figure it out right now. Oh,
there he is.
Almost there. No, his headset's still muted. Come on, Brandon. You got this.
Test, 1, 2, 3. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Can I get a mic check? This thing working?
Copy.
This was not my fault. How does that happen? Oh, he's probably using push to talk or something. He hit it.
He seems to be prone to fat fingering that button. This shit happens all the time, and it's sort of funny, but sort of not.
I would say the roleplay was going swimmingly until this technical difficulty. Okay, Mark.
I hope Columbo's got this. Just kind of nix this part out.
Earth to Discord. Check 1212.
Headset, bud. I mean, bro.
If only he would read the text chat.
If is a big word.
I mean, he can obviously see the icons lighting up. I don't know why he's not checking that. That's like the first thing you check. All right, I'm going to go roll a cigarette real quick. Let me know when he gets his stuff squared away.
I can just see it now. He's probably sitting there thinking, what a bunch of fucking dicks. They won't even respond to me.
Oh, like 20 of them just don't want to talk to me now.
No one loves me anymore.
Why can't he see the text chat? I don't know. I guess I'm missing that part.
He's probably got his chat window up or something. I don't know.
Well, I think he has recording software up too. Maybe he's looking at that window instead of Discord.
Yeah, that might be it. Oh, there we go. He figured it out.
I apologize. I honestly don't know how that happened. There it was again. Like, I didn't push that button, but sorry. Gotcha. Go ahead.
Where did we leave off?
The judge saying yes, ultimately.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. X. Oh, hold on. I gotta fix my battery. I'm having issues now.
This is like a fucking Mark Stevens show.
I know, right? Like, how dare you have issues? I never have issues. How dare he?
Testing. Testing. 1, 2.
Yeah.
How are you?
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. X. Is jurisdiction an element of the charges?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. X. If jurisdiction is an element of the charges and I am presumed innocent of every element, likewise, am I presumed innocent of jurisdiction?
The judge is thinking.
Mr. X.
I'm thinking.
I don't know if you...
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. X. I'm going to move to dismiss the case until such a time that the prosecution can file a proper case and submit evidence of jurisdiction to this court. And furthermore, I assume that any unopposed motion by the prosecution will be granted. Thank you and have a nice day, Mr. X.
Case dismissed.
Thank you for your time, Mr. X.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
It seemed like that got really easy towards the end for the technical difficulties.
No, it wasn't technical difficulties. I wanted to see how far you could take it and how you'd sound if you took it all the way. So we can rewind back to the part where I was still being an asshole, and I'll resume. I just wanted to see if you could manage yourself, and man, your wording was great. Your timing, your spacing, your rate of speech was good.
Well, I want to kind of open the floor up to anyone who's got questions about that or the wording or anything related to the role play.
Fair enough. After that, I wanted to be a defendant. I want to see you be a judge.
No questions, comments, what ifs?
Crickets. Ding, ding, ding. Round 2.
All right, Mr. X, case number blah, blah, blah. Please step forward. Mr. X, you are charged with blah, blah, max penalties of blah and blah. We are here in arraignment to attain a plea of guilty, not guilty, or no contest. How do you wish to proceed?
I missed part of that. Did someone volunteer or did they volunteer me? I'll be more than happy to go there, obviously. I'm just waiting to give a chance to anyone else who wanted some airtime.
All right, floor's open.
Anyone? Anyone? Who's got the huevos? Huevos time. Not that there's any kind of pressure, Jesus. But yeah.
All right, Ken, why did you choose at that time to overlook the bailiff's presence and miss the opportunity to point his gun in the room?
I didn't feel that it was appropriate just yet because there wasn't enough threat of force to justify me pointing it out just yet.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I gave him the opportunity to, but I was going to, if he wasn't doing so well, make it a bigger point about, you know, just verbalizing, hey, bailiff's doing this, bailiff's doing that, and the indirect. And that could happen, like, if I go back and be more brutal, that'll show up. But, man, he handled it well. And again, I just switched. In my head, I went, okay, he's obviously got the beginning. I just want to give him nothing but yeses, more or less, just to see how he'll end. So that's probably why.
Now, I will say that with the bailiff behind me, and if the judge would have made a threat or contempt or verbal threat, something like that, then I would have felt justified to point out the threat of violence in the room with the bailiff behind me and the threat that the judge just made. One by itself, I don't see as a major deal, but when it starts to compound, then yes, it's good to point it out.
And that was sort of what I was looking for. The fact that it wasn't really stated on the record, the threat of violence wasn't implicit, so it was just there. So, I mean, I understand why you did it. I was just seeking a clarification.
Now, for the record, isn't as important as the record of public opinion if there are members of the quote-unquote public behind you, and especially if you're, you know, recording and uploading it or someone else is. So it's very important, but I don't want to be transcript oriented primarily, right? Like, that's definitely a factor, but I want to be convincing to the people, quote unquote.
Yeah, and playing the gun in the room card, if you do it too early, the people are just going to be like, they're not going to be as on your side as they would be.
Victim signaling. If they bust it out and go, look, one more word out of you, and I'm going to hold you in contempt, or this is contempt warning number 1, something like that, you know, that's very direct. And so I would see more a sentence or two pointed at that threat of violence. But man, it's a great point that's brought up. All
Yeah,
right,
I find it best.
Go ahead.
I find it best not to play all of your cards right off the bat. You want to actually have some arrows left over. You don't want to use them all and then keep reshooting the same arrows, because then you just look repetitive to the people behind you. And I've seen that happen a lot with the plea of guilty in the role plays.
I'm just having a moment here where I'm enjoying someone who can say such things. It's not very often I hear someone who's that hip to the game. Just enjoying it. Thank you, sir.
Not a problem. It's just it's good to know the script and what you're doing, but thinking about the big picture overall is something you kind of have to do in the back of your head.
Oh, what is the big picture overall? Explain the big picture overall. What is it you're trying to appeal to? What's this big picture overall you're talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Public opinion, having that public opinion on your side without losing it in a short duration of time. You want the public opinion to be gradually on your side the entire time. But if you sound like a broken record the entire time, you tend to erode the public opinion, and the people just think, oh, he thinks he knows everything, and then they start to sway back to the court side or the judge's side.
Man, someone tell it to Mark Stevens.
It's like you got to nurse feed the crowd. You feed them a little bit at a time, but not all at once. That's the best analogy I got for that.
All right. Well, you might be judge worthy. You're the judge. Go ahead.
All right, Mr. X, please step forward. Your charges are blah, 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 with a max penalty of blah, blah, blah. How do you intend to continue? Do you intend to plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Sorry, I flipped out there for a second. Am I back on? Go ahead. You're the judge. Sorry, my bad.
God damn it, Bowman. All right.
Sorry. I'm walking around with my phone. I'm sorry. I got big thumbs. Horrible. I'm sorry.
I got
All
big
right.
phones.
All right, Mr. X, please step forward. Your max penalties are blah, and you're charged with blah. You're here at an arraignment to enter a plea of guilty, not guilty, or no contest. How do you intend on proceeding?
Okay. Perfect introduction that ends in, do I have a right to a fair and meaningful hearing?
Yes, Mr. X. Everyone who comes into this courtroom has the right to a fair and meaningful hearing. Now, that is what I'm here to provide. However, I will not answer clarifications all day long. So, we're here for a plea. How do you intend to continue? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
I appreciate your patience. I know that you have hired guns in the room that can make happen whatever you want. I just want to know if I have the right to be informed of the cause and nature of the charges and accusations against me, like it says in the Fourth Amendment.
Mr. X, I don't know if you're a constitutionalist or if you know how things work in this courtroom, but you have the rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution. I don't know where you're reading where you have certain rights in the courtroom. I don't know if you're familiar with courtroom procedure or not, but this is an arraignment. We're not here to talk about constitutional rights. If you need that, I can appoint a public defender to you. But right now, we are just here for you to enter a plea of guilty, not guilty, or no contest. How do you intend on proceeding, Mr. X?
I fully intend on entering a plea of guilty as soon as I can ask the prosecutor just 2 clarifications of what they're alleging. However, just to prevent any misunderstanding on your part, I'm not using amendments or a constitution to save me. I actually don't believe in them at all. I'm only using them to point out possible hypocrisy. Do I have a right to a fair and meaningful hearing? Yes or no? Do I have a right to be informed of the cause and nature of the charges and proceedings against me here today? Yes or no? I screwed up that first part. Sorry. Just pretend I said only the second part.
Mr. X, I've already answered your question. Everyone who comes in here has the right to a fair and meaningful hearing. Now, how do you intend on continuing?
Likewise, then, am I presumed innocent? Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was only trying to defend myself without the help of assistance of counsel. Am I presumed innocent here today?
Mr. X, everyone who comes in here is presumed innocent, but right now we are not here to determine whether you're innocent or guilty. We are just here to obtain a plea of guilty, not guilty, or no contest. If you wish to contest your innocence, we can proceed to trial and I can schedule a date then. But right now, we're not here for that. How do you intend on continuing, Mr. X? Guilty, or no contest?
Judge, I already told you my intentions. I intend to plead guilty here today, which is why I brought this unsigned plea of guilty so I can sign it and be done. I've already told you, like, I have a job to go to. I can't keep doing this. You've said I'm presumed innocent. Thank you very much for that. Am I presumed innocent of every element of the criminal charges brought against me here today to even bring me here in the first place in facing a bench warrant of arrest? Do I have the right to be presumed innocent? Damn it. Am I presumed innocent of every element of the criminal charges here today?
Mr. X, I've already informed you that we're not here to determine whether or not you're innocent. We are here at an arraignment. If you wish to contest that, we can proceed to trial.
Well, my unsigned plea of guilty means I don't want to go to trial. Look, let me put it more plainly. I'm not trying to waste your time. I'm not trying to disrespect you or this court. I have a copy of everything I need to plead guilty and pay the fine and leave with my freedom, God willing, except one piece of information. I would like a copy of whatever the prosecution is relying upon, factual evidence, that points to the element of jurisdiction that I'm apparently presumed innocent of as an element of criminal charges. As I turn to the prosecutor, has the prosecution provided any such factual evidence regarding this element of jurisdiction, yes or no?
Mr. X, I've already ruled that this court does have jurisdiction. I've already made that determination. The prosecution does not have to prove that. We are here at an arraignment. I have determined that the state has probable cause and that the court has jurisdiction. Now, how do you...
Sir, I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just investigating at this point, because if I had a copy of the factual evidence regarding the criminal element of jurisdiction that apparently I'm presumed innocent of, I would be pleading guilty right now, paying the fine, and someone else would be standing here before you so you could get on with your day. I'm asking, has a prosecutor provided any factual evidence regarding the element of jurisdiction, yes or no, as of yet?
Mr. X, I have already determined, based on the evidence that I have, that the court has jurisdiction. Now, how do you intend on continuing? I can enter a plea of guilty for you right now.
Wow. Would you ever enter a plea against my wishes? Even though I'm being perfectly reasonable? Would you ever do that, Judge? As part of a fair and meaningful hearing, would you ever enter a plea against my wishes? Yes or no?
Mr. X, I would never enter a plea against anyone's wishes. However, you have stated that you intend on pleading guilty. If you'd like to, we can continue with that plea.
I would like to continue with that plea if I have the only piece of evidence that I'm missing, as I've stated previously. Has a prosecutor provided any factual evidence regarding this cute element of jurisdiction, ma'am?
Mr. X, I've informed you already that the prosecution has given me enough evidence, and I've already ruled on that this court...
Great. Objection. Point of clarification. May I have a copy of it? Sorry. Just objection, point of clarification, which is totally allowed in all American legal systems and international ones. Objection, point of clarification. May I have a copy of it? I'm not going to pay the fine based on your opinion. I require factual evidence. You just said he's given it all to you. May I please have a copy of it, not the original?
Mr. X, you already have a copy of it. They've given me the same evidence that they have given you.
Which of these documents is a copy of the jurisdictional element of the criminal charge that I'm apparently presumed innocent of? I'm looking, I'm on my desk, I'm searching, I'm shuffling papers. Where is it?
Mr. X, the evidence that you have is in that document. If you cannot find it, I can give you a public defender who can easily point out where the evidence is. Would you like an attorney?
Could a public defender or an attorney provide me with something only the prosecutor has? Yes or no?
They would be able to assist you in finding the documentation or where it is in the documentation that you have received, Mr. X.
Sir, I would like a responsive answer to my clarification of whether or not an attorney or a public defender can give me something only the prosecutor has. He's here right now. I'm turning to him. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any factual evidence regarding the element of jurisdiction? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, Judge, we've given you the same evidence that we've given him. He has a copy of the police report, the citation. He's been informed of the allegations. I don't know what he's looking for, if he's a sovereign citizen type, but he has the same evidence that we've given you.
Objection, point of clarification. The prosecution is making claims that he has no factual evidence of. I am not a sovereign citizen. Please continue. But before you continue, I would like a ruling on my objection for your accusation that is, by the way, baseless against me here now. Granted or denied?
Mr. X, I'm going to sustain the objection. Mr. Prosecutor, I'm going to give you a very stern warning right now. But based on the fact that you have given me, I have found probable cause and jurisdiction.
Upon what factual evidence do you rely to base that conclusion? If you have it, look, I'm just investigating. Maybe you do. I'm not one of these people that just, where is it? I just want to see it. Do you have it? Yes or no?
Mr. X, your physical presence in this courtroom gives us jurisdiction. I'm done talking about jurisdiction. We have it. How do you intend on continuing?
Well, Judge, I intend on pleading guilty here today, as I've said, but what would have happened to me if I didn't show up here? What warrant would have been issued, and upon what threat of violence would have come against me?
Mr. X, no violence would have come against you. Just a warrant would have been issued, and then we would have scheduled a new court date. Now, we're here in the arraignment to figure out where you intend to go.
I see. So if a warrant was issued against me and a cop said, I'm going to arrest you, kidnap you, no matter what's going on in your life, throw you in a cage and bring you back in front of a judge, that's of no consequence? Is that what you're saying, Judge, on the record? Yes or no?
Mr. X, Mr. Prosecutor, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to talk to each other, and I'm going to go to a quick recess, and hopefully you guys can hammer this out.
Yeah, you're ready.
Bam.
You're definitely judge ready. Wow. I haven't said that in a while, Cannibal.
I had to get you out of there. It's like, okay, fuck this.
It's just good to hear. That's all. Damn, son. Counter, effective counter. Realistic, effective counter over and over and over again. Now, I just want to ratchet up. You're a Fort Worth judge. Ready? Ratchet up the violence. It's all ratchet, right?
Ooh, okay, this ought to be interesting. Okay, Mr. X,
yeah.
Please step forward. You're charged with filming a police officer and obstruction of justice. Maximum penalties are blah, blah, blah. How do you intend on continuing?
Now, consider someone in the group who has made it this far, right? I get this so far. So I want to hear ratchet. Ready? I'll assume yes. All right. Ma'am, I have a unsigned plea of guilty here because I intend to plead guilty and pay the fine and leave, because I've seen what happens to people who don't do that, especially without a lawyer or the assistance of a counsel. So I would like to enter this plea of guilty, if that's okay with you, just as long as I can clarify 2 issues with the prosecutor to make sure they have filed a proper case. Is that fair enough?
Mr. X, I'm not here to answer questions. We are here in an arraignment. I'm not going to tolerate any BS or anything that you found online. All right, I don't have time. I've got 30 people behind you. I will not tolerate any questions. The prosecution, you've had a chance to talk to already. We are here for a plea. If you intend on wasting my time, I will hold you in contempt of court for that. I do not have time nor the patience for this. So I'm only going to ask you this.
I'm sorry.
How do you
Did you
intend
just
to plead?
say? Did you say you could hold me in contempt of court?
Based on the professionalism of the courtroom and your conduct, contempt of court would be warranted if you attempt to interfere with the proceedings or waste time. Now,
Okay.
I'm not here to waste time. How do you
I
intend
don't
to
want
continue,
to.
Mr. X?
Please don't throw me in a cage for asking a clarification of what the prosecutor is alleging. Will you throw me in a cage, ruin my life, deny me all kinds of freedoms if I ask for a clarification of what the prosecution is alleging? Yes or no?
Mr. X, I'm not here to clarify anything. You've had a chance to talk with the prosecution. You've been facing these charges for about 2 months now. You've had 2 months to get all the information that you need. I am not here to provide that information to you. How do you intend on continuing?
Sir, I have entered my motions 2 months ago. You think that I should be held accountable for the fact that the prosecution has failed to respond. They have not responded in 2 months to my motions. So please ask them about the motions. I understand this is an arraignment. I'm going to enter a plea of guilty, pay the fine, and be out of here. Please ask them for the clarification. I know that you're not hired to answer questions of mine. I don't have any questions for you. I don't have any questions for anyone. I only have clarifications for the prosecutor. And there's 3 of them. And that's it. And then we'll be out of here. Does the prosecutor provide any factual evidence regarding the element of jurisdiction, for instance? Yes or no?
Well, Mr. X, since you're going to enter a plea of guilty, I'm going to accept that plea. I'm going to find you guilty, find you this.
Objection, point of clarification. Please don't throw me in jail. May I object in your courtroom without being thrown in jail? You've already mentioned the threat of contempt. Yes or no? Will you throw me in jail for this?
Mr. X, I can throw you in jail if you continue to disrupt the proceedings. There is a process for which we have to follow. We are following that. Any clarifications you have with the prosecutor, you should have already clarified.
I called them. They failed to respond to me. Now what?
Mr. X, if you'd like, I can schedule you another hearing date and give you more time, and I will order the prosecution to answer your motions and contact you. Would you like to proceed that way? I can schedule you a different a motions hearing.
Judge, now I think we're on the same page. I think we're on the same page, Judge. If you would like to if you would like to file a judicial order that forces the prosecution to at least respond to my motions, I would be game with that, even though jurisdiction has yet to be established, and it's all about guns and bailiffs and courtrooms and threats of violence like you just previously did. So could you please, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I was winning until then. So could you please make such an order into the record that would force the prosecution to respond to my motions? I would be happy for that. Is that agreeable?
Mr. X, just so I don't have to throw you in contempt and you can get your clarifications answered, I will order the prosecution to answer that. But I'm only giving you 1 month, and by then you should have all the evidence you need, and I will not answer any more questions at the next court date. You will enter a plea at the next court date, and the prosecution will give you all the evidence that you need. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any objections?
Objection. I'm sorry. I'll let the prosecutor proceed. Go ahead, prosecutor.
No, Judge, we don't have any objections to that. 1 month.
Okay, I have an objection. Objection. I don't like being threatened with a jail cell. You said contempt of court. Can you please state your intentions professionally without threatening me with an arrest that will lead me basically to be sexually molested by your armed guards in processing.
Mr. X, you're charged with filming an official.
That's not me. He dropped off.
Mr. X, you're charged with obstruction of justice, so you could be facing jail either way. So the better outcome here was to have the prosecution talk to you.
May I leave this room with my freedom right now? May I leave with my freedom right now?
Not right now, but you will have paperwork in about 5 minutes.
If I don't put pen to paper on your documents, may I please leave with my freedom right now, or are you threatening me with a cage?
Mr. X, you don't have to sign anything. The court date will be in 30 days.
What happens if I don't show up?
A warrant will be issued for your arrest for a failure to appear at the court date that is
And
scheduled.
what happens if I resist that arrest? What will happen to me?
That will be up to the procedures and policies of the police department in the apprehension. And
Will
the
that be
execution of
up
the
to
warrant.
and including death if I'm effective enough?
Mr. X, I'm not going to play games. That's your risk that you are willing to take.
Ah, you're the judge, so you judge that as a game. I see. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, apparently the judge is going to make a ruling that you got to respond to my motion and provide jurisdiction, so have fun with that.
All right, I'm rescheduling this for a month now, October, blah, blah, blah. Have a nice day, Mr. X,
Objection.
Mr. Prosecutor.
Objection. You've claimed I'm presumed innocent. I would not like to be under the threat of a bench warrant of arrest, comply or die authority if I don't show up here again. I would like the prosecutor to provide factual evidence regarding the element of jurisdiction right now. He has the opportunity to do it right now. There's no reason to deny me this basic, essential element, according to what you've said, I'm presumed innocent of regarding criminal charges. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have the factual evidence regarding any kind of element of jurisdiction as of yet, yes or no?
Mr. X, now is not the time to be talking to the prosecutor. If you'd like, I can take you into custody now. That way there will be no threat of arrest or violence against you. You will already be in custody. Would you prefer that?
Are you threatening me with arrest right now if I don't shut up?
No, I am providing an alternative to a warrant being issued for your arrest for a future court date that you may not show up to.
You've already admitted I'm presumed innocent. Why would you threaten someone with a threat of arrest if they're presumed innocent? I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm leaving right now. I'm out. I would just end on that note.
Mr. Prosecutor, you have 30 days to talk to the defendant.
Yeah, I would just walk out right there.
And the judge would let you. You just court ordered, blah, blah, blah,
would.
talk to the defendant.
He or she would. Yeah. That was pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. It was good. I mean, it wasn't like a 10 out of 10 brutal, but it was good. Cannibal, thanks, man. You give me hope. Like, I don't often get people in here that get it and can do that. So thanks, man.
Got to be vague and threatening. That's about it.
All right, I'm going to give you a 10 out of 10 judicial experience. Ready? How do you plea?
Wait, what? I was distracted.
This will take all of like 3 minutes. I'm just going to give you a 10 out of 10 violent judge type role play. How do you plea?
Thank you, Judge X. My intention is to plead guilty here today. However, I have a few clarifications about the cause and nature of the charges and accusations here today. First clarification I have is, am I presumed innocent? Ah, shit. Do I have the right to a fair...
If you started out with, am I presumed innocent? It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. The only reason why it's step number 3 is quote unquote easily digestible to idiots behind you. but that doesn't mean easily digestible to the idiots in front of you. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Go ahead.
Do I have the right to a fair and meaningful hearing here today?
Judge is looking at you sideways. He's typing on his monitor.
I'm sorry, Judge X. Did you not hear the clarification?
I'm busy right now. 1 second, he says.
The defendant patiently waits.
Mr. X, I see here that we're scheduled for an arraignment. So you have a few options, and I see that you don't have a lawyer attached to the record. So A, would you like to plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest? I mean, if you plead not guilty, we'll be happy to entertain whatever you have to say then. But B, if you don't have a lawyer, are you planning on getting one? Or would you like to declare as indigent so a court-appointed attorney can contact you? Which do you prefer, sir?
Judge X, I'm not sure if I need an attorney at this time just yet. I'm still trying to clarify the cause and nature of the charges and proceedings before I know which attorney I might need. The clarification I had on the table was, do I have the right to a fair and meaningful hearing here today?
Everyone who comes here has the right to the fair and meaningful hearing, but this is not just a regular hearing. This is an arraignment. And I'm not going to tolerate much more of this nonsense. Look behind you. I'm not paid to put up with this. Would you like a court-appointed attorney, or are you looking for one on your own? And are you pleading guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Judge X, I will know which attorney I need to find. I could say I'm looking for one right now as soon as I clarify the cause and nature of the charges and proceedings.
They're already clarified. Guilty, not guilty, or no contest. I'm not going to allow any distractions to my courtroom. This is not the time and place for that, and if you had a lawyer, you'd know that. So if you don't enter a plea, I'll enter one for you. You have a last chance. Go ahead.
My intention is to plead guilty. I'm just trying to clarify the cause and nature of the proceedings, but now I have to ask.
I accept your guilty
uninformed
plea. I accept it. I accept the defendant's guilty plea. And
Objection. Point of clarification.
Mark it as be quiet. I will accept it under the following conditions. Are you making your plea free of any voluntary coercion, sir? Yes or no?
At this point, Judge, it's an uninformed plea. Do you accept uninformed pleas?
I'm going to warn you for the first time that I will hold you in contempt if you don't be responsive to my questions. Warning number 1, for the record. I'm asking, do you want to plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
My intention is to enter an informed plea of guilty, but I'm not informed as to the cause and nature of the proceedings. I have clarification still on the table, Mr. X.
You have been informed of the cause and nature. You have been informed of the charges against you and the max penalties that apply to them. So I deny your clarifications as you put them. I'm going to warn you a second time of contempt. The third time I won't be warning you. Guilty, not guilty, or no contest.
Thank you, Judge X. Are you attempting to threaten me with contempt in order to obtain an uninformed plea today?
Man, I don't like that one. That was the first thing you said that I don't like. I threatened the shit out of you just then, right? Would you agree?
I would.
Okay. If you get, quote unquote, threatened the shit out of, I don't want you going to jail, obviously, by any means, right? Would you agree?
I would agree with that, yeah.
Okay. So so if they threaten you that hard, a win can be had by pointing out the threat and leaving with your freedom. Would you agree? Because what you just said, I could be like, bailiff, right? Like, I warned you once, I warned you twice, and you're still bringing it. I mean, I'm not even bringing Fort Worth heat to you right now. So if you're in that situation, man, I mean, if you want to go to jail, I mean, if you want to make a point, I've done it. I get it. I totally get it. But you didn't declare that intention to me. You know, you're trying to get out of here with your freedom. So if they warn you that hard, remain silent and bounce. And isn't that a win, considering the recording? You're masterful. You're doing so well. You've done better than I've heard in easily over a year. Easily. Gary would be like, man, this guy, damn. Wow. First I've heard in a while, too. Damn.
That's one thing I don't consider really walking away as an option sometimes. So that could be an option that I have to
you gotta walk away. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But yeah, because walking away is a victory in many circumstances. If you don't have that walk away in your arsenal, ouch, you might go to jail for it. And no one wants that. Well, not any of us. Consider the recording. Consider the online impact. You crushed it. You did well. Don't go to jail, right? Like, how much better is it seen by the public if you're like, you talked all this mad shit to the judge they've never heard before, and you got away with it? What do they think about it if you didn't get away with it? It de-justifies it. That's a horrible word. You know, it makes everything you just said up until that point not nearly as relevant, effective, or powerful. That's not what we do.
Yeah, I would say
discredit
would be a better word.
Yeah. So get out. That third, especially on the second one, dude. I mean, I'm a contempt line dancer. I could upload videos that or point them to you that you'd be like, yep. Don't cross that. Benefit. Okay, cool. I think is my point made? I mean, it might not be right, but I hope it's made.
That's I can see the benefit, because if you're going to go to jail for contempt, you might as well do it while you're walking away.
And go on a reason that the public, quote unquote, sheep would easily agree on. Don't go there in semantics between, especially legalese reasons, which didn't happen between us, but that will happen in real life. Between the judge and you, don't go to jail on that. Don't ever go to jail, no matter what. Is that fair enough? Like, never go to jail. Right? Ever. I threw you a threat 1. You dealt with it very well. I threw you threat 2. You dealt with it very well. I threw you threat 3. You fucked up. According to my humble opinion, I'm sorry. Don't go to jail under any circumstances. We are appealing to sheep. They don't understand this. This guy's trying to tell me how to think about the system and how to deal with it. But he went to jail, so fuck that shit. Like, don't. He got away with it, is what you want them to think. Look at what he said, and he got away with it. I mean, that's why I left with Darla Peavy in the room. When Gunner got arrested, Redbeard got arrested, Bao would have got arrested if he didn't run, but he did. That's why I didn't get arrested. Because fuck that shit. If you get arrested, you're fucked. Agreed? I mean, in the court of public opinion, the sheeple, right? Am I wrong? Someone tell me I'm wrong, please, and why. I'm listening, if you got it.
You're not wrong. It emphasizes the futility.
We're about comedy. Despite all the seriousness, we're about comedy. Mockery is the anti-anger that they know how to deal with. They know all too well. They've been facing it forever. How to deal with anger. They have no idea how to deal with mockery. Agreed? Am I wrong?
Oh, I would agree with that 100%, just based on experience.
All right. So in that line, don't go to jail, because there's nothing mockery about going to jail. I know. Especially when they pull your underwear, they dig beyond your shorts, reach for underwear, pull them out, and tell you, I didn't see a dick, I have a vagina. Props to Goldman, San Antonio prison. Yeah, man, that's what's up. But Cannibal, amazing. Overall, amazing. Thank you, sir, for being here. Amazing. A plus, A plus, A plus, A plus. I'd send anybody to you.
Well, I got a new exit strategy at least now. I just got to know when to use the walking away.
Third time, I'm going to warn you of contempt for disrupting these proceedings. How would you like to plead?
Are we still on roleplay? I'll walk away.
Fucking A. That was the perfect answer. Because I'm like, if he gives me any words back, he's wrong. Shut up. Leave. And he said that. You're like, I would walk away. Third warning. Perfect. Fucking perfect. Exactly what you're supposed to do. In that situation, walk away. So props, bro. Man, that's good to hear. It's just so good to hear. You have no idea. It's good to hear.
Well, I mean, most of the judges in Florida aren't that dickish, but then again, you know, that could happen eventually.
Well, if they are anything like Fort Worth judges, as soon as you get to the fifth question, when they've answered yes to the previous four, they can hold you in contempt with 2 psyche evals, not 1, with a strip search for up to 13 days. Solitary confinement, by the way, as we've learned from what's happened to Bao and all that. I mean, I'm just saying for the record, don't fuck with the judge, you know, if that's a problem, which it is for everyone. So probably no one will fuck with a judge, which is what they want. Anyway.
All right, so what's your feedback on the uninformed plea comeback? I found that to be effective one time at least.
Got to be more specific.
When you threaten to accept the plea. And I responded, do you accept uninformed pleas? I don't know if you heard that as a judge or not. You probably just ignored it. But
No, I heard it all. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm just trying to figure out your question as to response to that. You know, what happened? What's your question?
How, as far as something you could throw back at the judge, how effective do you think that would be overall? Not just where you're at, but overall.
So it depends. If you're in Fort Worth, I would say one thing. If you're in Podunk, Hillbilly, wherever, quote unquote America, I would say another. So where on the spectrum would you like me to address that answer? I mean, that's big time important.
All right, so let's say Fort Worth is a 10, Podunk is a 1. Let's say a 5.
All right, role play it. Go.
Okay. Judge, would you accept a plea of guilty that is uninformed? Or let me rephrase that, an uninformed plea of guilty? However you want to word it. I mean, I'm nitpicking now.
I'm not familiar with where you're coming from, but the court only accepts informed and voluntary pleas. So the court has limited time to address your questions. What's your next one? We're ready to proceed.
My intention is to plead guilty. I'm trying to be informed of the cause and nature of the charges and proceedings here today, and then go off to the clarification of whatever it is.
Okay, so when you come back from something that specific, like you were really specific, and then the judge got real specific in his counter, you don't want to go back to cause and nature. I mean, you can go back to cause and nature, but preface it or include in it exactly what you're pointing out within the cause and nature. And again, this is just all for the sheeple behind you. It's not for a legal process in front of you. So if you just know the presumption of innocence, the cause and nature of the charges and proceedings against you, and a fair and meaningful hearing are all crucial but vague as fuck. And when you get, I'm sorry, my language. And when you get in a specific conversation with a judge about these issues, with the sheeple behind you, narrow in, like zoom in. Don't zoom out and go back to, well, I just want the cause of nature. No, that's what Mark Stevens does. Oops, sorry, my bad, but that's what happens. So always, I mean, specificity is our friend. Vagueness is their friend. So while we have questions that are vague, am I presumed innocent? Do I have a right to cause and nature of the charge proceedings against me? Is this fair and meaningful? Those are all vague, but only vague because they're crucially important internationally. There's power to the sheeple behind you with those. Once you're beyond that, it's all about zooming in. That's actual reality, logic, ethics, and actual reality. Now, I'm not saying what you did was wrong. That's for damn sure, because what you did was good. I'm just offering a different opinion to the equation. That's all.
That's the opinion that I was looking for, any opinion, so that worked out. A different viewpoint than my own, it adds perspective.
Dude, Cannibal, you're ready to be a judge here. I've never said that before, Cannibal. I've never said that. I've never said, hey man, I just role played with you and let's flip it. And you still pass. I've never said it. So for whatever reason, you know what? I'm just gonna mentor you along with Gary, even though you're not a mentor, just to let everyone know because you're so rare that you know what the fuck is up. Give me a second.
Oh, that's helping my ego right there. Okay, so anybody got any thoughts on that role play or anything that you observe that questions about? God, really? Come on, Cricket.
Cricket.
I don't know that it's so much feedback as it is just an observation. When you threatened for the third time, contempt, blah, 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 it reminded me of Robbie making that sign and holding it up, asking, may I speak now?
I didn't see Robbie holding up that sign. Can you provide a link? And I'm familiar. I talked to the guy. The guy's my buddy. Ongoing, but just the link.
No, I can't provide a link because I'm pretty sure it was on your on your channel, and it wasn't a video of him doing so. It was, I think, just a commentary with you and he on some of his court proceedings. And at one point, the judge threatened contempt if he heard another word, and Robbie stated that he made a sign while he was sitting at the table that in big in big letters he wrote out, "May I speak now?" or "Tell me when I'm able to speak."
I think it was, is it safe to speak? That video is like a year old, so I could be wrong on that. Well, actually a couple of years old.
It was older than I thought it was.
Well, Robbie's court dates were fucking, what, forever ago.
How do you know Robbie? You know Robbie that well?
I've chatted with him in the Discord server. He's fellow MGTOW. We had a good couple hour chat. I can't speak to one of
I
those
love
guys.
that guy. How what?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, how what? How what? I didn't hear what you said. I was just saying, yeah, I love that guy. That's all I was saying.
Oh yeah, Robbie's cool, dude. If you ever get to talk to him on the chat for like a long period of time, it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Oh, so Robbie and I go way back, and we've had those combos multiple times. So yeah, not enough lately, but yeah, that's not on lack of effort of my part. That's for sure.
No
He's a good
responsibility.
dude. All right, so no one else is around, so I'm probably gonna go to bed. It's like 1:30 a.m. here.